With temperatures falling below zero this weekend, local shelters and warming centers are gearing up to ensure no one is left out in the cold.
ABC 17's Victoria Bragg is live from our newsroom tonight. Victoria, the Salvation Army told you it's almost near capacity in both Jefferson City and in Columbia.
Deb, Lucas, the Salvation Army is one of the many shelters in mid-Missouri taking in more people than usual due to these bitterly cold temperatures. Now it says it is doing everything that it can with COVID restrictions to make sure those in need have a warm place to stay at night.
So we're just essentially trying to keep folks from freezing to death on the streets.
Steve Hollis with the Columbia Boone County Health Department says the Wabash bus station will remain open as an overnight warming center throughout the weekend and possibly next week with below freezing temperatures. But the department tries to encourage people to get into shelters.
We work very closely with our homeless service providers to really try to encourage folks to get into the regular shelters, namely this time of year, Room at the Inn and then the Salvation Army Harbor House.
Lori Benson with the Salvation Army says beds are almost full at both Columbia and the Jefferson City locations. She says this can be a problem because the Salvation Army is the only overnight warming center available in Jefferson City.
But at night, the Salvation Army is the only overnight shelter in the Jefferson City area. And so when we get full, it really does create problems. And I know that the shelter staff is calling around and trying to see, can we put these individuals someplace to get them off the streets.
Benson says in the past, the Salvation Army would have allowed anyone who is in need to stay at the shelter. But now with COVID, it is having to limit the amount of people allowed in the shelter at a time. She says it's a different story in Columbia.
The great thing, though, about Columbia is there's a lot of places and extra places that have opened due to COVID and restrictions, where hopefully we can get people in those extra beds when we're running at capacity.
With other options in Columbia like Room at the Inn and overnight warming centers, they want to ensure that no one is left out in the cold.
All centers are taking COVID precautions by requiring masks and social distancing. They're even providing hand sanitizer to guests. Now, the Salvation Army is requiring temperature checks and health screenings to ensure they're keeping everyone safe. Reporting live from the newsroom, I'm Victoria Bragg, ABC 17 News.
Okay, Victoria, thank you. Now, the Room at the Inn will continue to provide shelter at the Unitarian Church tomorrow night through Monday morning, and Rockbridge Christian Church will be an overflow site if needed. Turning Point will serve as a warming center tomorrow as well.